testing. 1, 2. Testing. Yep, works. I want to take this opportunity to give a special shout out, special thank you, special appreciation to all my haters and all my trolls who follow me on a regular basis. Pocket watchers, dick riders, just people who generally want to see me fail. Hate me, hate my wife, hate everything about us. I want to thank you. And the reason why I want to thank you is because without you guys, we wouldn't have tried as hard as we did. I don't think that I would have been as motivated. I wouldn't have been as motivated to do what I do if it hadn't been for the trolls, the haters out there. It made us work twice as hard, and as a result, we're doing better than ever in our life. Even in this time of a pandemic, we're doing good, you know. And it's allowed us to have an abundance that has allowed us to help other people, people who are worthy, you know, of who are not attacking us, who are not haters, who are not trying to take us down, you know, like crabs in a barrel. To help people who help others, really, is where we focus most of our any of our help on. And so, yeah, thank you to all trolls. Thank you to all haters. Thank you to people who continue to watch our videos and give us continuous views. I really appreciate it. As frustrating as it is, real talk, it's frustrating as it is to read it, to have people following us around and doing stupid stuff. It has made it has motivated us to do better. It's motivated us to find other way. If people are taking money off of us because they sued us or whatever, we just find another way to make more money. If people find a way to try to tear our channel down, we find another way to make another channel. Whatever they do, it's like Hydra, you know, like they cut off one head, 2 more heads come up. So yeah, we remain positive. We remain motivated. We work super hard every day. And the reason why is because you guys have propped us up, like all the haters and trolls. So thank you. So with that out of the way, thanks to everybody who's on the live. Hey everybody. Hope everybody is doing good. Hey Davis Cruz, how you doing? How's Canada? Canada's looking better and better these days, by the way. It's been looking better and better, baby. I know you know what I'm talking about. Black Supreme, how you doing? We got a Big Trucker series in the house. We got KP55. How you doing, sir? Hola. We've got Nikki. How you doing? Says hi, Yuribruce. Take care. We've got Markel TV, man. Thank you, Markel. If you guys didn't know, Markel TV is over in Colombia. He's really good channel. His best content is VA stuff, but he's got some awesome stuff on being an expatriate in other countries. Right now, he happens to be in beautiful Colombia, living his best life. I mean, I really admire him. Me and Yuri really look up to him. He's a great guy. So go ahead and check out Markel TV. Very positive, upbeat dude with lots of wisdom to share with everybody. Billy C, how you doing? Or Bill C, I'm sorry. Apologize for that. And I'm gonna read some questions here. There's a really great conversation we had last week that I want to continue a little bit of that. We were talking about coronavirus. I hate saying it because every time I say it or talk about it, we get demonetized. Meaning our video that we put out won't make any money. But that's all right. We got to talk about it. So let me see what people are saying here. Big Trucker series. says, I find it hard to believe that people are waiting, taking their time to troll you. Thing is, I get a lot of trolls and haters as well. Just remember, they're disappointed in themselves. Yeah, that's what I gather out of it, Big Trucker. It doesn't bother me. I I believe in the content I make. For me, it's a conversation all the time, and for people to get mad at a conversation to me is illogical. If you have something, if you're upset about something I have said or something I have done or we have done or on this channel, you can talk to us. You might even change my mind. You might even get an apology out of me. You might even, I'm open to talking to people. So, it's better to approach me as a man, as a woman, as a person, as a human being, not with your anger, not with your emotion. It's better to approach me logically. I respond better to that. We may not agree, but I can respect your opinion. You know what I mean? I can respect, and if you have a great point, hell, I'll do more than respect it. You may change my mind. So that's how I feel about it. It's very logical. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it doesn't get to me. Yes, sometimes it does. But ultimately, real talk, like, it's really helped to motivate me to be a better person, a better father, a better, to be a go-getter. Because when people say I can't, or people doubt or something like that, it just makes me work that much harder. And a really special shout out to all the people who believe in us, who've been down, our day one people, people like KP55, who's been donating to us, people like Markel TV, people like HT Logistics, people like Tim, you know who you are, people like this. There's a list of people, Daryl Charity, Lewis, people who we love because they believed in us when sometimes we didn't believe in ourselves, and they were there for us. So special shout out to all our patrons who continue to support us in more ways than one. So thank you so much. You guys are very near and dear to our heart, and I appreciate all the support you continuously give to us. Big Trucker says, perhaps you can do an episode talking about Yuri, talking to Yuri about the problem in the Philippines related to money transfer. I sent some money to my girlfriend during the pandemic, and she can't get it easily. Okay, I got something about that, Big Trucker. I saw your comment about that. So Yuri uses something called Remitly. And this is not they don't financially reimburse us, or I'm not getting any money off of this little spiel. But Remitly, just go ahead and check it out, remitly.com. And we also have a bank account over there, so that helps out a little bit. But Remitly, just go ahead and check that out. That's what Yuri uses to send money to the Philippines, and it seems to work better. Now, keep in mind, we have tried wire transfers, which I don't recommend, with the Swift code and all that kind of stuff. It's just too expensive. Banks try to gouge you any chance they get. We've used MoneyGram. We've used Zoom, the XOOM one. We've used Western Union, and right now Yuri is really leaning towards Remitly. So try that one. And if I'm not mistaken, I think what Yuri does is Yuri does Remitly to an account, or she can do it directly to a person. I don't use it. I just know that that's what we have kind of like graduated to that. And if anybody else has anything, like, what do you guys use out there? Do you guys use anything better than Remitly? Is there any other suggestions? I'm seeing some suggestions kind of pop up in this scrolling down here. Let me try to put the chat box on so you guys can see it. Let me see if I can put that up there so you guys can see what people are saying. Hopefully this works. I used to have this chat box all the time here. So somebody said, some pretty smart people here jumping in. The only one, John, says TransferWise ? Do you use TransferWise? Anybody use that one? I've seen that. That's the one from the dude who does Virgin. Branson does that one. Created that, or I don't know if he is one of the main shareholders in it or whatever. Let me see. Remitly is great. You're right. That's Bill C. There's an endorsement. Davis Cruiser says, World Remit and Remitly works great. So there you go. There's 3 endorsements from me, from Bill, from Davis, saying that Remitly is something to check out. So go ahead and check out Remitly. They don't pay us. This is not a paid endorsement. I'm just saying that we use it, and Yuri seems to really like it. And Yuri pays attention to how much money is spent when we're, you know what I mean, like the transfer fees and stuff like that. Me, I don't care. I'll send anything except if it's a wire transfer where they're charging you $25 to do a $30 transfer or something like that. I care about that. But if it's like a few dollars, I don't care. But Yuri, she cares about that. So yeah, if she's saying it's good, and Bill's saying it's good, and Davis is saying it's good, it really is worth your time to go ahead and check that out. Any other wire transfers, you guys let me know. Oh, Mike T. Man says I use Mule, I can't pronounce that, through my bank. All right. There's another suggestion for you out there on what to use. So I hope that helps you, Big Trucker. Go ahead and write that one down and go ahead and try that one out. That's a good one to at least try it out. You know what I mean? All right, I'm gonna keep reading here. I forgot to mention Mr. Mike T. Man, a huge supporter of ours. Love you, man. Thanks for all your support, man. Thank you for continuous support. We really appreciate you. And I want you guys to know, like, people who support us, man, we talk about you guys, man, in a good way. We're like, man, how's Mike doing? So we listen to you guys. We talk about you guys. We consider you guys part of our family. Mike T. Man says, shout out from Atlanta, Georgia. Man, we got to go there one of these days after this. We've been talking about going to Atlanta for a long time. This little situation doesn't really help. Let me read some more comments here. I've got some flow of comments. Oh man, my chat box didn't come up. Let me see if I kind of missed the chat coming up so you guys can see what people are saying. I'll try to work this in while I'm talking to people. Let me see. I got Nikki saying, or Big Trucker also says, MoneyGram and Western Union, Palawan Express are constantly crowded and offline. Yeah. They run out of money fast. I assume Yuri opened an account to be able to send money. Yeah, try Remitly. Try that one. Let me see if I can open up chat box. Add source. Bear with me, guys. Let me just add this real quick with the hurry upness. Yeah, that works. Okay, so that should be popping up. There we go. That was quick. I'm going to put that like right above my head. That works right there. Boom. Booyah. All right. Kim, Nikki says, oh, never mind about that, Bruce. Oh, never mind about that, Bruce. You are not perfect at all. We are not perfect at all. If you made a mistake in the past, well, it's part of our lives, and we all make mistakes. Continue doing good things. I mean, that's how I see it. You're not going to agree with everybody. You're not going to agree with everything we believe, and I'm not going to believe everything you believe. So, we can at least respect each other's opinions. That's just how I feel about it. We can respect each other's right to an opinion. Let me make a correction there. Daisy and Family Channel says, hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. Do a thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button so we can let other people know we're here. Big Trucker Series Review says, are you driving right now, Big Trucker? Are you on the road right now? Be careful out there, man. In order to avoid demonetization, I refer to Corona as the apocalypse. Man, this channel really doesn't make a lot of AdSense anyway, so we're not really that concerned about it. But we do make money on our books. So if you happen to be going through the K1 visa process, you can go ahead and pick up our book. That's just as easy as going to Amazon.com and typing in Yuribruce, and you'll find a bunch of our books. And this is one of them right here. This one, people really seem to like this, especially the hard copy. but we do have a soft copy and we have an audio version. So check those ones out as well. It's a good way to support the channel, but it's really good if you're going through the process. And another book we have is 5 Stages of Love. Is just talking about how Yuri and I have been able to be successful in our relationship. We just kind of summed up everything, how we've been able to make it. Okay. Davis Cruz says Canada is doing just great, although we would appreciate more N95 masks coming this way. Yeah, I heard about that, man. I didn't vote for the dude, so I would apologize for it, but it was not my fault. So I don't know if you guys heard about it, but the current administration blocked N95 masks from going to Canada from 3M, which we're in a really bad way right now. So I see why they did it. I'm not completely I understand what they're doing. I just wish they would have done it earlier. I think this wouldn't be a problem if we had responded earlier. So if our country had been like Korea, and Korea, like as soon as they got, so here's the thing, Korea and the U.S. saw their first signs of something happening on like the same date, like really early, right? And sometime in January or February. And the difference is that as soon as they got their first few people, Korea responded by the federal government bringing the main companies together, the manufacturers in the country, and getting them together and say, listen, we need a plan. We need ventilators. We need masks just in case. We need to bulk up our stuff. What our administration did was they sent 18 tons of some of our PPE back up to China in February. I don't understand the reasoning behind that. I know that they were having issues, but most of the manufacturing is in China. Do they really need that? Was that like a gesture? I mean, you don't take off, if it's winter, right, and you can get frostbite, do you take off your coat and give it to somebody who already has a coat? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. So now we're in this situation where we don't have a stockpile, and they're kind of scrambled to get stuff together to help out New York, right? And speaking of the states, like California is doing really good. Because they actually responded pretty early. Well, certain cities in California are doing really good because they responded early. But I mean, Davis, like look at this, man. Look at our numbers. All right, look at this. We have 300,000 people infected and 9,000, almost 10,000 deaths. All right, now look, where's Canada? Canada has 15,000 people infected and 280 people died. Now, I'm not trying to, every person's life is precious. I'm not trying to, devalue any lives, but I'm just saying we are in a bad way. Our numbers are skyrocketing. I just don't understand. Sometimes like our administration has some good ideas, but the way that they do it is messed up. Like sometimes like the way they did that whole thing, in my personal opinion, was not the smartest way to do it. And then another thing is the judgment was very poor, and the whole execution of it has been bad because they waited so late. But that's just my 2 cents. I don't know nothing. I'm just some random dude on the internet, so don't listen to me. Bill C says, just got back from Bhutan before the virus getting ready to start the K1 visa process when everything gets going again. Yeah, right now USCIS, just so you know, is shut down. I think until May 4th, if I remember right. Somebody said that it's down till May 4th. Master Metal Vlogger says upgrade 3, big thumbs up. Great way to support channel, thumbs up. Let me see here. Shout out from Atlanta. Clinton, how you doing? Clinton Lewis, he says, hello there, Bruce. Don't ever stop what you're doing. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Let me see. Mr. Biloxi Fireman, how you doing, sir? How you doing over there? And I'm assuming you're in Biloxi. Hope you're taking care of yourself. Please be safe, everyone. We have 9 firemen infected in my city, and another 10 plus they are watching. Please protect the elderly people and Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. This is about protecting everybody. You know what I mean? Like some of us are asymptomatic. That means we're walking around and we're infected, but we don't have no symptoms. So we're spreading it to everyone. So that's why you need a mask, even a cloth mask, according to the CDC. Another protective thing is you can do is wear some, glasses over your eyes so you're not touching your eyes or whatever if you happen to wear glasses. Don't touch your face. Try not to infect other people. I mean, just think, my mind, I'm always thinking of like, I'm infected. I don't want to infect other people, so that's why I'll wear gloves. I'll wear a mask, stuff like that. Mr. Mike T. Man says, I use okay. I already read that one. Wow, everybody's remitly. Okay. World Remit. Okay. World Remit. That's another one to check out. Let me see. Wells Fargo will do. Kevin Kopler says Wells Fargo will do bank to bank. Okay. I didn't know that. Something to keep in mind. Kaylin Cook says, hi, y'all. Hello, y'all. How you doing? Callan? Is it Callan? Mr. Cook? Mr. Mike T. Man says, I use Wells Fargo through an arrangement they have with Mjolnir. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I apologize. Dipsy, how you doing? Dipsy is a beautiful Kenyan queen who is, I think, somewhere on the East Coast, if I'm not mistaken. Says, hello there. Hope you guys are okay and keeping safe. Yeah, we're doing okay. We're doing fine over here. I think Yuri, I don't know if you caught our last video, but I think Yuri might have already, Yuri and my kids might have already gotten, I think all of us might have already gotten it. We were just talking about like how she had shortness of breath. That's one of the symptoms. She had like a fever of 100 plus for a couple days. She was bedridden. It was bad. So, and it was kind of weird, it wasn't like a normal thing. So we did try to get checked out, but they only take people with symptoms. And by the time she got in, it was all the symptoms were already gone. So we didn't actually go. Davis says, been working remotely since the COVID-19 pandemic started. You still have an active digital. Are you still an active digital nomad? Yeah, I've been working from home for many years, since 5 years now, since 2014. So 6 years. Wow. And then before that, I was working on and off from home. But yeah, so every now and then that allows us to, man, I've worked in, I was in Thailand. I was in Philippines. We went to Vietnam. We went to, this is all 2019. And then every now and then we go to Texas. We can just go wherever we want and just stay there for a few days or whatever. So, and the kids are older, so they can either go with us or stay or, whatever. Just lately, of course, we kind of been on lockdown, but Yuri was supposed to go to several states, but that's all canceled. So she's pretty pissed off about that. So yeah, I still am a digital nomad. Haven't really gone anywhere lately. I was actually planning on going with her to Texas, and that would have been really fun. But yeah, if you guys didn't know, I have another channel where I talk about stuff like that. I don't know if you're interested, but it's like cybersecurity type stuff. It's called Convo Courses. It's really off the beaten path, and it has nothing to do with this channel at all. The two don't really cross paths much, so I don't really talk about one from the other and vice versa. So, but if you happen to be into IT or whatever, then go ahead, check it out. Yan says, hello there, host. How are you? How are you doing, Yan? Is that how you pronounce your name, Yan? Mr. Mike Tina Man says, my 2 cents also, but it means nothing. It's 2 cents. Rory Gold says, Taiwan is the only country that really had a handle on this. Take a look at their stats. Wow, really? I'm going to have to check that out. I know that Korea got a pretty good handle on it. I heard Singapore has a good handle on it. San Francisco did a pretty good job. Their numbers are really low. San Francisco cracked down very early. So San Francisco has, I don't know if you know anything about the population, but it's a huge city. and they're doing really good. Their numbers are super low. And this pack, it looks similar. The way it's the makeup is everybody is like, packed in one spot. It doesn't have nearly the numbers that New York has, so it's not even comparison. New York is on a whole different level. It's the biggest city in the U.S. It's, there's so many different things going on with New York. So New York is a special case, and I think that they would have done better if Cuomo would have acted earlier. But I think he's doing an all right job considering the circumstances, Thanks, Mike T. Man, for that. I appreciate you, man. He says, you guys keep up the good work. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that donation. Appreciate you. You guys didn't know, Mike T. Man also was, before this, in February, Mike and some others were sending PPE where they could to Hong Kong when Hong Kong was at its apex and getting really hit. And there was some overseas Filipino workers over there, and they couldn't get masks, or the masks were getting resold for super high and stuff. So Mike T. Man and a few others was sending PPE over there to help those people out. So man, that right there is a good man. There's some really good people who follow us, man. I really respect you guys. Juliet says, hello from New York. How you doing over there? Where are you at in New York? Give us a blow by blow of what's going on over there, Juliet. Is it it sounds bad. It sounds bad. Looking at the numbers and then what's going on over there, the deaths are super high. New York has lost 4,159 people. I'm seeing some footage from there, people in body bags. Nurses coming out, nurses crying because they're seeing so much death and stuff. It looks very bad. But Julia, it would be great to hear from you, to see what is it really like there. Are you just on lockdown, or have you seen ambulance going on? Are the streets super quiet? What's going on there? Are people taking the lockdown pretty serious? Yes, that's correct. Okay. Pronounced Yan. All right. Davis says, yeah, I think Taiwan locked everything down way sooner than others. Man, that mitigation seems to have worked very well. The earlier people locked down, the quicker it worked. The problem we have in the U.S. here, for those of you who are not in the U.S., is that some of our states have a lot of autonomy, and because our federal government won't do a blanket, they haven't really done a blanket thing yet. I don't know if they ever will. I don't really know what's going on with our federal government. It's so strange. The lack of leadership is shocking. From a person who was in the military, who's seen leadership, and when it really counts the most, you know what I mean? With life or death situations, the lack of leadership is shocking. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I've been to three different war zones. I've never seen this level of incompetence when it's life or death. It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking. But in the U.S., what happens is each state has a lot of autonomy, so they can lock the state down or whatever. You have to follow. You can be stricter than what the federal government says, but you can't be looser than what the government says. That's kind of how the laws go here. I don't know how it is in Canada as far as the provinces and stuff. But each state, New York, for example, has issued a stay-at-home order, as has, I think, New Jersey, Michigan, California. Louisiana only recently did it because their deaths are going super high. Massachusetts did it. Florida only recently did it. There's just some states are not doing it at all, and they don't think that there's any problem. And Iowa's not doing it. Off the top of my head, Utah's hasn't issued an order. They they're issuing suggestions. We suggest that you protect yourself. We suggest that you do this, or we suggest. That doesn't really work because people are gonna take it as a suggestion. Nah, I don't feel like doing that, or nah, it must not be that serious. But the states that have taken it very serious early on are California is a great example. It's controlling the numbers, and you got to remember, if you look at California's numbers, California is 10% of the U.S. population, so technically California should look like New York. Think about that. California has I think it has more people than Canada. I think California has more people, more human beings than Canada, than the country of Canada. So the numbers here are, is considering, like, this is bad, 300 people, that's bad, but considering how many people there are, 30 million people, that's pretty low, and then I'm sure that infected, these numbers are probably way higher than this, but we don't have enough tests, so I'm sure the numbers are higher than this. But that said, when the hospitals are getting overflowed, like Italy, there's a problem. Like, you don't need a test to see the people are dying and filling up the morgue. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the problem that we're having, is that some states are not isolating, and they're not self-isolating. They're not issuing stay-at-home orders. So what's going to happen is, even with a California, right? A California who's doing good with the numbers, or say another state that's doing good with the numbers, even though they're able to keep. So people can still come from Utah and infect other people. People can still come from Iowa and infect these people or that people. Unless we have a countrywide lockdown, I don't know how effective it's going to be. Our numbers are going to continue to rise, and it's just unfortunate. It's really telling. Like, this whole thing has been really an eye opener for me. Like, to see how unprepared the U.S. is. I'm shocked. It's a huge failure. It's a huge failure, and I can't sugarcoat it. I can't. I'm a person who loves this country. I love this country. Like, even with all the bad, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I like the meaning behind it. I like the idea of what America could be. You know what I mean? But is it that? No, it's not. The way we treat immigrants is not good. The way we treat people of color is not good. There's definitely problems, but the idea of America to me is beautiful. So I love that. But this right here is a whole nother level of incompetence that is shocking to me, and it hurts me to say that it's a huge failure. You fam, how you doing? He says, "Hey Bruce, I'm the guy. ICE came to his house, got a court date in May, but my fiance got her green card. Just need to pick her up, pick up a passport, to cancel the court date." So check this out. Check this out, guys. So UFAM and his wife, right? UFAM is a U.S. citizen who petitioned a Filipina to come here. His fiance petitioned her to come here. They went through the process just like normal, right? No issues as far as, they did a background check on him, do a background check on her. She passed the interview. She came over here. Everything's fine. He paid the fees. All that stuff is good. They come here. They're going through the interview process to get the green card. He gets a knock on the door. Who is it? It's ICE. ICE wants to see her, see if she's legit, right? And it's like, what's this all about? What do you guys think? What do you guys think happened with that one? I'm going to tell you what I think. I think what happened was a neighbor saw a Filipina walking around and is like, is that an illegal immigrant? Called ICE. And then had ICE show up at their house with some anonymous tips, right? What else would have happened? So the reason why I say that, and I'm not paranoid or anything, but check this out. When you go through the K-1 visa process, what do they have on you? They have everything. You send them who you are, how much money you make. You have to pay them to process the stuff, so they know who she is. They have her by the time she goes through the embassy's interview. They know who she is. They know when she was born. They have her birth certificate. They have a picture ID of her. All that stuff goes where? Where does it go? It goes to the USCIS. It goes to the embassy. Embassy sends it to the USCIS. They put that in the database. USCIS is under Department of Homeland Security, which also is an umbrella over ICE. So ICE, Border Patrol, and USCIS have access to the same records. So why is ICE knocking on her door? Think about it. Think about that. If they have the records, if they know who she is, they have her record, they know she's coming from the Philippines. They know she's a K-1 visa holder. They know she's going through the process. They have all the documentation. They make you do it several times. They even have you do biometrics. Why are they knocking on your door? Why did he have to have a court date, right? And now he's got a green card. I think somebody called, so one of those barbecue Becky people calls and says, hey, I think somebody has an illegal immigrant here. And then ICE came on an anonymous tip, knocked on the door, and wants to put them on trial. Ridiculous to do that to an American citizen and an illegal immigrant. Ridiculous. Just my 2 cents. My 2 cents. I don't know nothing. Take it with a grain of salt. But kind of makes me mad. Mr. Biloxi says Singapore, Taiwan, South Korea have all done well. I didn't know Taiwan did well. That's good. I'm gonna have to read up on that one. And there are a few ex-Russian countries that are requiring masks for everyone, and even making a lot of homemade masks. That's good. I hope they're doing all right. Angie, thank you for that. $10 says hashtag lockdown.ph.2020. Oh, yeah, Philippines is on lockdown. It's causing some financial issues just like the U.S., but I think that their government's is trying to support the people, so that's good. Good news. Mr. Biloxi says South Korea got hurt by patient 31. She infected more than 1,000 people just by herself. Whoa. I heard that one of the big issues there when I was following what was going on in Korea was there was a church that was in session and they infected a whole bunch of people, like hundreds of people in the congregation. I did hear about that. Let me see. We got some new people kind of joining us. Let me see who's new here real quick. Get Lost Vlogs, how you doing? What's up, man? How's it going? How's it been over there? Are you in Philippines right now, or how's it going over there? You on lockdown? Biloxi. Whoa. Okay, there we go. Mr. Biloxi Fireman says Hong Kong also has done well, and they've even eliminated their flu season because everyone's wearing masks. That's good. Sounds good. All right, I'm going to try to steer clear of some of the more political stuff. It's so divisive. I mean, we could talk a little bit about it, but I don't want to get too far into it. We hear a lot of that already every day on the news on all channels. So, I feel the same way a lot of you guys do. Is that Mr. Wallace Life? How you doing, Mr. Wallace Life? I've been trying to get your lives, man, but every now and then it seems like you're deleting them or something. Juliet says, it is bad. Lots of ambulance everywhere. She's talking about New York. So Juliet, if you're joining this late, Juliet is currently in New York. Are you a nurse or anything, Juliet? Says it's bad. Lots of ambulance everywhere. Everywhere is closed. I will go to work, but I try to be very careful. Masks and gloves all day. Man. Hang in there. Protect yourself, Juliet. Don't touch your face. Remember, wash your hands before you touch your face when you get home. Big Trucker says the governors are doing a better job. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. The governors are doing really good. It's really cool to see like Cuomo taking a leadership role, regardless of what you think of him as a Democrat, Republican, whatever he is or whatever his views are. He's being a leader, and I really appreciate that. It's good to see people who are leaders, like stepping up to the plate, taking responsibility, saying, the buck stops here. Here's what we're gonna do. Like make a decision, and then if it's the wrong decision, to be able to adjust and say we were wrong. Here's what we're gonna do. Here's another issue. Not trying to hide things. Like it's really refreshing to see some of the governors. Like every now and then I'll tune into like New York, or I'll tune into New Jersey, or whoever is speaking, and just to see what's going on, to stay on top of what's happening throughout the U.S. Mike T. Man says, I have friends, clients that are in New York, and they are both black belts in martial arts, and they are concerned. They're very concerned. Yeah, it's what I'm tripping about with this virus is that first they were saying it's only elderly, and people who have a weak immune system, immunocompromised, or have respiratory problems like bronchitis or something like that, or asthma or something. But thing is, there's some people that I've seen who doing testimonials on the news who are healthy people who were like, there was like a lady who was 40 and she was like, had run 15 marathons. She was extremely healthy and they hit her and she almost died. And so I'm like, man, we really got to be careful with this. This is not, I don't think we have all the information on it. You know what I mean? Like, I think the scientists, they're gathering the information as fast as they can, but I think that there's a lot to learn about what's going on with this. And probably after post-mortem, when all this is finished or done or has died down, especially once they get the antibodies out there and you can see who has been infected and what's the ratio of people who are asymptomatic. Once we see those numbers, it's going to give us a better picture of what's going on and what has happened with all this. But right now, I don't think that we really know, unfortunately. Mike T. Man says, cars are getting broken into. Someone has to remain home when one ventures out for supplies. Whoa. Really? So it's like a high crime and stuff? Juliet, have you seen that too in New York? Like has there like been an uptick of like crime and stuff like that? Are you worried about coming home, going to and from work or anything? I didn't know all that was happening. Not seeing that, but I can imagine there's a lot of freaking jackals and scavengers out there who take advantage any chance they get of bad situations. Big Trucker says California's problem is that they are at the Mexican border state. That they are a Mexican border state. They're handling it pretty well. All this stuff that's going on, they're handling it pretty well. My mom's over there. She's sheltered. She's not sheltered. Staying at home and everything. She seems to be doing okay. So they're not using being on the border of Mexico as some kind of excuse. They're just getting the job done. Davis Cruiser says Ontario and Quebec has the highest number of cases. Oh, really? And I think the highest number of people too, right? Those are your two most populous provinces or territories. Is it territory or province? Mr. Mike T. Man says the federal government should have called up the reserve in each state to take control of the situation. Yeah, you would think that, wouldn't you? Not a good look. Big Trucker Review says, what you are witnessing is when a dire circumstance meets partisan politics and poor leadership, nothing but disaster results. Yeah, I agree with that. It's ridiculous. It's like they keep trying to protect the dude's ego or something. It's like, dude, people are dying. Like, F your ego. Mr. Mike T. Man says, Bruce, you have a lot of 2 cents. I do. That I do. I have a very strong opinion on this one. I've never seen nothing like this before, man. I mean, pandemic aside, I mean, that's also unprecedented, but the lack of leadership is shocking. Did you see what happened with the captain that tried to warn the ship, that tried to warn the Navy that the ship was was infected at a high rate, and they fired him because they got embarrassed. Ridiculous. It's like they're trying to protect. It's very frustrating to see it play out. If you're paying attention, like you should be mad if you're American. The Wallace Life says, yes, I deleted them. I usually at work, just turning it on to see who shows up. Oh, okay. I'll have to try to catch those earlier then. Because sometimes what I'll try to do is watch them like after you've done it to just see. That's what I'll do with Mark LTV. He'll like do the live and I'll be at work or doing some meeting or something, and I'll just like watch it later when I can. Sagas, how's it going? Philippine Destiny, how you doing, man? He says, "What's up, B?" Big Trucker Series says, "I'm a New Yorker for 38 years, and I never thought much of Cuomo. I know leadership when I see it. No one gets it right 100%, but running a dysfunctional branch of the government is impeachable." Yeah. The virus can kill anyone who doesn't have the immune system to fight it off and acquire immunity. Don't think of it as in terms of age, health, etc. This is pure Darwinism. The strongest will survive. I see it as more of a failure of our. I just feel like people could be saved. Like that's the bottom line. Is we have the technology to do it. This is not like it's some kind of disease that we can't. We know it's a coronavirus. Coronavirus has been in mammals for a long time. It's gonna have a vaccine, right? It's a respiratory issue. So all you need, just like Cuomo said, I was watching one of his lives, and he said people are gonna die because they literally don't have one piece of equipment, right? So most of the people can be saved if there's enough equipment for them. If there's a ventilator to help them to breathe while they're getting through it, most of the people will live. I mean, there's a 100-year-old dude who survived the Spanish flu and coronavirus. He got the coronavirus and he beat the Spanish flu. Spanish flu was in 1918, right? 1918, right? That guy was alive during that time and he lived. So you could say Darwinism, survival of the fittest, and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, like this is something that we can handle as a society. It's just incompetence, and it's incompetence that's going to get people killed. Just like in a war, like we don't have to have a war, but like incompetence gets people killed. If you send people in an area that has a 90% death rate, but you didn't have the foresight to figure out you didn't think about, you have the intel, you know how dangerous it is, you know the risks, rather than changing the plans or having a plan in place, a disaster recovery plan or something, you just go ahead and do it anyway. Like this is a situation that's not a Darwin the Darwin survival of fittest thing. This is something that could be averted, and its incompetence it's very frustrating to watch it. And now there's more deaths than 9/11. Think about that. Ridiculous. Mr. Mike T, it's going to be way higher than that. The way that things are going. Mr. Mike T Man says, my fiance and CDO was being required to work instead. She stays at home. We have a 6 to 7 year old. I'm assuming you mean there. She didn't want to stop, and I had to tell her you got to stop. And she said, well, that's good, man, that you're taking care of things. Like, that's how you got to be sometimes. You got to say, look, this is really dangerous. Mr. Wallace Life says, I just stopped for a moment working in the morning. And, oh, you got to work in the morning. Okay, man, take care. Juliet says, I'm not seeing any of that. Talking about the New York situation, I'm not seeing any of that as far as the break-ins and stuff. It may be happening, but not in my area. Public transportations are free because the driver have to protect themselves. Only about 10 people in the buses at a time. Wow. 10 people on the buses at a time. Wow. So you guys can space out. Wow. At least the buses are still running. Bruce VSKR7 says Bruce Maxine Waters latest tweet sums up how Trump screwed up everything big time. She said a mouthful. Yeah. Just sad, man. Don't know what to say. I'm speechless about the whole thing. It's like it's just like during 9/11. I remember I was not a fan. I was in the military at the time. I was not a fan of Bush. You know, as a service person, you don't say nothing. You know, you just follow orders. But we came together as a country. Like, there was some leadership. I don't agree with us fighting two war fronts at the same time. I don't know why the hell we went to Iraq. That was stupid. But it just didn't make any sense. But thing is, there was leadership. You know what I mean? Like, everything was not done right. We lost $1 trillion. We lost 4,000 soldiers. But there was leadership. There was somebody at the top saying, here's what we're going to do. Here's our plan. Here's our disaster recovery plan. Here's this situation. Like, we don't have a plan. Like, there's no plan up top. And it's just, it's something else. Mr. Cook says, us truckers are out here to keep America going. If you want to help, and you are not essential to our survival, please stay at your home and enjoy your family while we are out here doing our job. Amen. So this is something I said last week, man. Truckers, without truckers, this has been a real eye opener for me. You know, of course, it's like something we take for granted, like the whole trucking industry, something we take for granted. And if the supply chain ever stopped, the supply chain is truckers in the U.S. I don't know how it is in other countries, but in the U.S., we got one artery, and that's one artery pumping the blood throughout the whole country, and that's the truckers. You know what I mean? You got aircraft, you got all that kind of stuff too, but the truckers is like the veins of the country. So if that stopped, we are all screwed. Think about it, if the gas, people stopped delivering gas to the pumps, people stopped delivering toilet paper can you imagine that? No more toilet paper. No more meat products, no more. Yeah, that's the truckers, man. So I like to give a special shout out to the truckers who are still moving product across the country, and don't get their proper respect, you guys. Real talk. Like, if you guys were not moving product across the U.S., we are all screwed. It's going to be Mad Max out here. We're going to be Mad Max on foot because we won't have cars, gas to drive the cars. So keep it going. Special shout out to all truckers. Yancey says, Kiev? Yancey? I don't know if I'm pronounced that right. It says, there are natural remedies that can cure these viruses if we're willing to research. I don't know about that. There's so much snake oil and stuff out there that I'm not, you just never know. Just definitely do your research on that kind of stuff. Eric B says, did you see the governor of Georgia say 4 days ago that they didn't know until the past 24 hours that it could be spread by asymptomatic people? How's that possible? I knew in January. He's lying. That fool's lying. Somebody from Georgia, I remember we had a live a few days ago and like a week ago, and they were saying Georgia's not doing nothing. Like, Atlanta's doing something, Georgia's not doing nothing. And then shortly after that, maybe 4 days after that, that's when all this stuff happened with the governor of Georgia going out and saying, I didn't know that there was asymptomatic people. I mean, come on, man. You're the governor. You haven't turned on the TV. You haven't heard the doctors, CDC speak. You haven't read anything on CDC. You haven't been watching what's going on in China. You haven't been watching what's going on in Hong Kong. That's just BS, man. That's just pure BS for him to come out there and lie to everyone. For what? To protect his own behind. To protect his own. Man, I hope you guys vote him out. Like, that is ridiculous. And that's what I'm talking about. The incompetence of these leaders. Some of these leaders is shocking. Not just in our country, Not just at the federal level, but some of the governors too, the ones who won't shut down, saying stupid stuff like this, like, "Oh, I didn't know people were asymptomatic, passing it along and stuff." Yeah, that's just a lie. That's just a flat out lie. You know, just that's the most scary thing about all this. Yes, it's scary that this virus is killing in the U.S. 1% of the 2%, sorry, of the population. But the scariest thing is that this guy, the people like him, saying stupid stuff like that, and just completely incompetent. The incompetence is scary. It's terrifying, because how can somebody be that dumb? You know what I mean? I mean, I don't think it's even being dumb. It's being disingenuous, and it's being corrupt. Like, did you hear about the one? I think she's also from Georgia. The one lady who knew what was going on and sold a bunch of stocks. She's like married to the chairman of the stock exchange or something like that, and sold a bunch of stocks. I don't think they're dumb. I think that they're corrupt. Like, they don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I think that they're so greedy that they care about their bottom line first. That's what I think is in many cases. Some of them are stupid, ignorant, you name it. But some of them are just, I think most are just greedy. They're just greedy. Subverting the $1 trillion bailout that's going on and moving that towards mostly big companies. Man, but yeah, if you haven't heard, like, there's one, I believe she's a senator, and she sold a bunch of stocks. I believe she sold off her stocks in things like, the hotel industry, and then start buying stocks in like PPE and healthcare and things like that, because she knew what was going to happen. So I don't even know why senators can, if they have this privy information, why can't they even have stock? It doesn't even make any sense. Just completely corrupt, man. 9/11, let me see. Yancey says 9/11 has become as time has been seen as an inside job from the neocon liberals at this time. I don't know about that, man. Like, you got to read all the facts. Like, I don't know all about all these conspiracy theories and stuff. You have to look at all sides. You got to even look at stuff that you don't necessarily agree with. You got to really look at the facts. And if something looks too ridiculous to be true, like, you should really look into it. You know what I mean? So just be wary of like some of the conspiracy theories. Don't get me wrong, like, some false flag stuff is absolutely true. Like, if you look through history, it does happen. But just look at your facts. You know what I mean? Just take a very strong, like, somebody's peddling, saying that that China created the virus. I'm not a fan of China. I freaking hate their government. They're liars. They definitely tried to hide it when it first came out. They try to muzzle the doctors. They try to warn about SARS-CoV-2, which is COVID-19. I don't even think they're telling the truth about their numbers, but did they create a virus and then put it on the world? That's ridiculous. I did. You know what I mean? If something's like, normally, here's how I handle facts. If something sounds ridiculous, I'm going to try to debunk it by looking at all data from all sources, right? Not just from one source and stuff that makes me feel good about and supports my narrative, right? Because all of us have our own views. All of us have our own, like, cultural views and stuff. But sometimes you got to challenge your own views. And that's hard because you're checking your own ego. Because you were wrong about this or that or the other thing. But if you want the facts, if you want the truth, if you really want it, it's not always pretty, and it doesn't always favor your cultural upbringing or your beliefs that you've adopted. So you've got to check all your facts, and that goes for this COVID-19 stuff, for 9/11, for everything. Check your facts. Check yourself. Don't just believe everything people are putting out there on the internet, man. That's one thing that us older people who were born before the internet do a lot. Like we'll read something, and because it was in print, we believe it. Like that is not, especially how this information is just pumped out all over the place. You got to double check all your facts. Never take anybody's word for it. Don't take my word for it. Don't believe any damn thing I have to say. Double check everything I say. Double check everything the president says. Double check stuff that scientists say. Double check everything. Don't just believe everything you hear. Sagas says, all right, brother. All right, Bruce, railroad. We move truckers, freight. Yeah, absolutely, man. Trust without the railroad, trains going coast to coast, no toilet paper equals chaos. I like that one. Yeah, absolutely. That thank you, big thank you goes to not only the trucking industry, but of course the people flying the planes to get product to and from our country, and also of course the trains who are moving energy across the U.S. You know, if without you guys in the transportation industry, we are absolutely screwed. And that's very apparent in this epidemic we're having here. Pandemic we're having here. Mr. Mike T Man says, that was me, Bruce. That said that GA was doing anything. It's funny, like right after you said that is when, like a day or two later, that's when the governor came forward and was like, well, I didn't know the people were asymptomatic, and like, come on, man. You know, now the numbers are going up. Damn. I hope people vote him out, man. I really do hope people learn a lesson from all this about having stupid leaders. Yancey says, please do your research, Bruce, because your health is your wealth. The leadership can easily mislead you, since most of them are talking heads and rich, powerful people. So I do research. That's why I question I question everything. I question all conspiracy, all collusion, everything. I pay attention. I read. A lot of people don't read, man. I look at both sides of an issue. It's not always pretty, you know. It's not always something I want to hear. It's not always in my favor. And so yeah, I do look at facts, and I think that many of the conspiracy theories out there are they're just bullshit, man. That's it. This is coming from Yancey. Listen, okay? There's only so much I can say on this live, all right? But I was in the military during 9/11, all right? I was literally I was an intel communications person during that time, all right? That's all I'm going to say. Eric B says, people a year or so ago. And wow, turns out that there's a lot of cheating going on there. I don't know if you guys pay attention to North Carolina, and just shocked at everything that was going on there. I think we were looking for a place to live there at one point. We were in North Carolina, and we were looking at, and I just happened to, I watched a lot of the news, and I'm always like, especially if I'm thinking about moving to a place, I'll really pay attention to like what's the local news, right? Not just like CNN or Fox or whatever, national news, national news coverage. The local news, they're talking about stuff on the ground. They're talking about stuff that concerns citizens there. And me and Yuri were watching, and we're like, what is happening here? And it was right when the election was going on. And so all of these discrepancies in the voting came out at that time in North Carolina. And we were like, what is happening? There was some kind of voter fraud, where they were not voter fraud. I think it was voter fraud. They were changing ballots or something. They were paying dudes to like take They were paying people to go to old people's houses, gather up all their paper ballots, and then they were changing what they were saying and then giving. Somebody went to jail over it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Am I lying to you guys? There was some weird stuff going on in North Carolina when we were there, and then there was something going on with the AG, the Attorney General. There was, oh man, it's so many things happening in North Carolina. It's so corrupt there. I'm like, dang, this is, coming from Colorado where we have our own problems, but nothing even close to North Carolina. UFAM says, blame the U.S. government for sitting on its hands for weeks. Yeah. Blame needs to go to the top. Yancey says, American history should be researched. I'm not into conspiracy theories, my brother. But I'm into researching and learning. I'm with you, man. Like, I know. There's a lot of bad stuff going on here. I know that there was Black Wall Street. I know our people were being used as guinea pigs. I know there's a lot of horrible stuff here. That nobody talks about, and that is kind of forgotten purposely because it's so ugly that nobody wants to talk about the truth of it. I'm not one of those people. I'm somebody who wants to look at it because I want to know. I would rather know what's happening than to pretend that nothing's happening. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather know the ugly with what's going on. So yes, I know. I know what you're saying. There is definitely corruption, and if there's any good thing that's come out of all of this is that the corruption is being exposed to some extent. Like, the incompetence is exposing a lot of of what's happening as far as corporations taking over, not taking over, but they have already taken over. So there's a lot of things being exposed, and that's the one good thing I would say that is happening with all of this. And if you could say that there's anything good out of it, that's just my opinion. You can be mad about it, but it's better to just talk to me about it. Talk to me about your opinion. I want to hear your opinion. You may change my mind. There's no need to troll me. There's no need to get mad. It's better to just talk to me. You can get mad, but we can talk like grown ass men, like grown ass adults. Let's talk about it. You don't have to agree with everything I say. I don't have to agree with everything you say, but it's a conversation. And I'm not talking to you, Yancey. There's a lot of people who happens to read and be right, by the way. I'm joking. Big Trucker says, China is a petri dish for infectious diseases because the people live with and eat wild animals, and China has poor sanitary conditions due to poverty level. I can't disagree with that. I don't know if you ever seen this documentary about how China, the street vendors will reuse the oil from the sewers. Like, they'll dip into the sewers with like a big spoon. I don't know, and then scoop it out to refry, use it to fry food that they would feed to people. And then there's the wet markets, right? So that's where all this stuff they're saying may have been the source of this COVID-19. And then another thing is that they eating the exotic animals. Yeah, that's because the thing is, like, certain animals have more viruses and bacteria that human beings can't deal with. SARS. There's a couple of them, swine flu, and I don't know if it's swine flu, but COVID-19 is definitely one of them. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other things I saw about China. What's going on there and why there's all these outbreaks. I mean, another thing is that there's so many people are really on top of each other. There's so many people like in one spot. Maybe that's another contributing factor. Maybe after you hit a certain number, maybe after you hit 1 billion, You have more infections, but yeah, I mean, big trucker, I really can't disagree with that, man. It's not the first time it's happened, so I don't know what to say, man. Definitely something going on there. And then the poverty level is another thing. Like when you can't find anything to eat, there's a lot of people in poverty there. For all the wealth and all the amazing things that China has done and has, and all the brilliant people there and stuff, there's a lot of poverty there. So there's this huge poverty underground, that are doing whatever they can to survive. So the wet market is one of those things. Let me see. Big Trucker says, I lived in Shanghai for 2 years and I saw a level of poverty and unsanitary conditions that would turn you white. Oh, yeah. I bet. Mr. Mike T. Man says, sounds like insider trading to me. Isn't that illegal? Government official, because they have a knowledge of, they have all this other knowledge, right? They're exposed to all this stuff in the market and stuff we don't know about. They have all these intel briefings. So if they have a bunch of stock that they control and it's not in a blind trust, why wouldn't they, if nobody's watching, if there's no oversight, why wouldn't they go ahead and trade some stuff? There's no rules against it. There are, I believe there are rules about it, and I don't, rules for it, but I don't know what they are. I hopefully they get one of these people and make an example out of them. Big Trucker says, I seriously doubt the coronavirus was a bioweapon and deliberate. It spread in a highly indiscriminatory manner and set China's economy back significantly while eroding trust. Yeah, that's a great point. Even if you agree with this conspiracy, right? Let's put all other conspiracies aside for a second. Let's just focus on this one. Let's say you agree, you think that China created this as a bioweapon. So what would be their reasoning for doing that? So first off, there's 81,000 people that they admit are infected. There's how many people died from it that they can't hide. You can't hide the urns, right? And the numbers are speaking for themselves. They're saying there's no new cases. Come on, that's not right. Of course there's more deaths, and of course there's more people infected. They're not reporting numbers correctly. They're lying. So why would they infect themselves? What would be the impetus? Why would they do that? What would they gain from that? When China's sole purpose, and they've been pushing really hard to keep their economy gaining more and more money at this huge clip at double digits, right? They're trying to get their economy constantly making something like 15% or 10%, right? And anytime it slips, they do some drastic stuff, like they change their dollar value. They do all kinds of stuff to keep their economy going at double digits. Why would they infect themselves with a virus, or why would they try to take out the U.S.? Why? To use a coronavirus? They're dumb enough to use a virus that's gonna. They're thinking, maybe they were like, let's take out the U.S. We'll use a bioweapon, right? Wouldn't somebody say, well, what if it infects us too? What? And then the way their behavior was when it first got leaked out, right? Do you? I don't know if you were following it, but I was following this back in October, November, where the Chinese government was muzzling the doctor, and I don't remember the doctor's name, but they were muzzling the doctor who came forward with he was saying there's a new variant of SARS. Watch out. He was telling people, and he started going on social media. And then the Chinese government tried to shut him up. Now that's real. You can go research that. There's all kinds of data on that. Okay, there's video of the doctor speaking, trying to speak out. They forced him to write a statement. They arrested him, took him into custody, and then they forced him to write a statement to retract everything he said. Right, and then later when he passed away of the coronavirus, I'm not sure what happened there, but Other doctors came forward and said, yeah, they muzzled us too. We were trying to come forward and say and tell everybody what's going on. I mean, they're definitely bad actors, and their behavior, I just don't, it doesn't fit into a narrative. I don't know how all of that data, like them, the doctor coming forward, them muzzling him, them forcing him to do a statement, how does that fit into a narrative where they try to create a virus to take out the U.S. or take out half their population? Like, what would be their motivation behind doing that? It just doesn't make any sense. Especially when they could just keep arresting people and killing them and nobody's gonna say anything. They could just look at what they did to the Uyghurs. Like the Uyghurs is like a Uyghurs. I think that's how you pronounce it. The Uyghurs, they just rounded all them up because they were Muslims and then start taking them to education camps, right? And what did the world say? Not a damn thing. The UN didn't say anything. I mean, I'm sure there's people speaking out or whatever, but what did they do about it? Not a damn thing. Nobody's doing nothing because nobody wants to slow the economy down. They could have just started rounding people up. Wouldn't it be more effective to just keep cracking down on people? Like in China, they don't have no qualms about killing people in prison. Like, why not just kill people? Why not just there's groups at a time and just keep on rounding people up and killing them off? Like, why do a virus that can take out your whole economy? It just doesn't make any sense to me personally. I think there's other ways they could have done it. I just don't understand the whole conspiracy thing. And then who would benefit off of making a bioweapon that is that stupid to take out everyone? I mean, just it's some Dr. Evil comic book type stupidity. I don't understand the rational thought behind it. So he says, Yancey says the coronavirus has different strains that can affect Italy, Iran, America, and Europe. No. So you might want to read up on that one. So they're saying that there are different strains. So you know where you want to read and check out is who did research on this is one of the Nordic countries did research on it because I think it's Sweden. Let me bring that one up. So Sweden, who has a relatively small population, they did research on this. It was Sweden or Norway, I can't remember which one. And they were able to, they don't have a lot of people infected, right? And so they're able to actually do tests on most of their, not most, but many of their population, right? Much of their population. And they were able to find other strains. But the variant of the strains isn't that big. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can find it. But this is something that you want to look into. Look, I'm not saying, look, you could be right. Maybe somebody made a bioweapon and then they spread it, and they want to take out Italy. They would take out the U.S. and it's different strains to take out different people. I don't know, right? I'm just going off of the data that I'm reading from many different sources and many different organizations and many different countries. So, I don't have all the answers, but I do know that there was some pretty good research out of this other country, and they don't have anything to gain these scientists don't have nothing to gain by putting this information out there, right? So it's peer reviewed. What do they have to gain by putting it out there? And then if it conflicts with this other information, they're objective observers of the data. So unless it's like a worldwide conspiracy where there's more than one country in on it, I'm trying to wrap my head around that thinking. Sweden COVID-19 variations. Trying to find that article that I read about it, that they did talk about different strains of it. Different strains. Okay, that's what I'll search. Strains. I hope I can find it, but don't know if it was Sweden or Switzerland, or it's one of the Nordic countries. I mean, like whatever place you're reading this information from, I'm just saying, like, read different sources, like just read other stuff, because You may be wrong, is all I'm saying. I'm trying to find it, and finds different. Okay, let me just. So I'm kind of going off on a tangent. I really don't like talking about. It's so counterproductive to like try to chase down conspiracy theories. It's just, if I find something about it, maybe I'll talk about it on another. I can't find where that was, but damn it. Okay, can't find it, but he says, appreciate that, brother, but the more knowledge that you can bring to the table for yourself and myself and others helps us all. Amen. I can't disagree with that. The PRC is lying. Big Trucker says the PRC is lying about infections is a part of national security. Man, look at this. Look at this right here. Look at this. And tell me this isn't government lying. One of the largest world populations, China, has no new cases. No new cases. I don't know, guys. It doesn't sound right to me. Something wrong with that. It says PRC is lying about the infectious part of national security. They don't want hostile countries knowing how fast a virus can spread in their population. U.S. Navy fired Crozier for less. Crozier? I can't pronounce his name, but I know who you're talking about. That captain that was fired. It's unfortunate that we live in a place where people are trying to hide facts when it's something that can hurt all of us. I will give you that, Yancey. They're definitely not just our government, but many governments are trying to hide facts. Hey, Bruce, I emailed you a few weeks ago about my Philippines trip during the month of March. Well, I decided to come, but I wasn't able to return to the States on my date. Whoa. What happened? Did you get locked down? I'll read about that. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Thanks, Yancey, for the great conversation. I appreciate that. I'll definitely do more research. Thank you, Big Trucker, for sticking around. Great conversation. Thank you, Mr. Mike T. Mann, for your donation. And thank you, Angie, if you're still here. Thanks a lot for your donation. Appreciate you guys for talking with me. Thanks, Markel TV, if you're still out there. If you guys didn't know, check out Markel TV, who is a U.S. expatriate in Colombia. I believe he's on lockdown over there too, and go check him out. And I'll be here next week around the same time frame. If you guys want to have another discussion, hopefully I'll have better conversation, better research ready, better topics to talk about. Appreciate everybody. Again, to kind of come back to what I was originally talking about, we don't always have to disagree. We don't always have to agree. It's okay to disagree. Like, we're just having a conversation. There's no reason to hate one another because we have a difference of opinion or a difference of upbringing. You may be a Republican, you may be a conservative, you may be religious. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with one another. One of the best gifts we have is to communicate, and that's why I'm always open to people's opinions and people's facts. And I always am fascinated when I learn something new. Fascinated. I love learning new things. But we got to put our ego aside, Sometimes we got to put our ego aside, and especially if we don't agree. If you don't agree, that's the biggest time to put your ego aside and listen to the other person. Listen to what they're saying, and then respond to it. And do your own research. And that's how we get further. That's how we, as a species, progress further, is by listening to one another and hearing one another. So that's it for this week, guys. Appreciate everybody. Arco Drones, I see you. Says I got laid off last week. Company opens on April 20th. Man, Godspeed, man. Hang in there. Hopefully the stimulus check will help you out, float you in for a while. If all goes well, God willing. So thanks everybody. That's it for this week.